Okay, we're live, you guys. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Shamika with Dear Shamika, and today we have Robert Hale and Dr. Shantasia Shorter, and we are going to be talking about colorism within the Black community. So we will start with you, Robert. What do you define as colorism?
I define colorism as
Let me make
being.
sure I can hear you.
We found. I define colorism as being, you know, in any given
Oh, I'm having
situation,
technical
you're
difficulty.
being looked at positively or negatively based off of your color, your appearance, how you look, your complexion. The darkness or the lightness of it may give you better or lesser opportunities based off your initial appearance, your color.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, Colorism, that's a good question. It's
Yeah,
really uh it's a form of discrimination. It's a form of discrimination in which you differentiate the way you treat people based on the complexion of their skin. It is the act of stereotyping people based on the complexion of their skin. Assigning certain roles, certain
yeah.
titles, certain privileges, or lack thereof because of the complexion of your skin. So I think Shamika has some technical difficulties. There she go.
I'm sorry about that. It just froze. My phone just froze out of nowhere. And I think
No
we're
worries.
still live because I'm looking and it say I'm
Yeah, we
still.
was rolling. We was rolling. So we
I
did define it while
know.
you
I'm
were out,
like,
but both of us defined it. So I don't know if you want to start over or if
yeah,
you want
let's
to move
start
forward.
over so I can hear it. What's going on? What is colorism to you, Robert?
Colorism is a lack of opportunities or opportunities given based on the complexion of your skin, your color, whether you're lighter or a fair skinned person or a dark skinned person, chocolate like me. Um, that's what it is to me.
Okay, Dr. Shorter, what is your definition of colorism?
Um, Colorism to me, like simply put, is like discrimination and stereotyping of an individual based on um, the complexion of their skin. Um, yeah, that's simply put how.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much encompasses what I think it is.
How do you guys feel you have been impacted by colorism, if at all? Can you kind of give your background stories? You can start off this time, Dr. Shorter. Can you give a little background as to how you
Sure.
up there?
Um, I grew up being the most dark complected in my home. Um, and I grew up. How can I put this? So growing up as a young child, I can remember my first situations dealing like being faced with colorism. They came from in my home. Um, and I can remember having the conversation being had where I was told that I would eventually lighten up as I got older. And so it set an expectation for me to want to be light skinned. And so I would wake up every day hoping that that was the day that my complexion got lighter. And
Wow.
I can remember, and the thing is, it's so crazy because I was born in Hawaii. And
Mhm.
so if you ever been to Hawaii, that's like when you go to tropical like Pacific Islands, that sun do not play. So it substantially darkened my complexion to the point that when we moved back to the mainland, it took months, I would even say at least a year for my complexion to adjust to my surroundings.
Mhm.
And so that made it even harder in the home. I can remember having conversations as I got older about the type of man or the color of man that I should go for so that my children didn't have to deal with the complexities of being dark skinned the way that I did. I can also be recall being made fun of at school for being dark skinned.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just one of those things where looking back on it, I realized that was the only thing that people had to, pick on me about. Because I was pretty, even though I didn't feel pretty. I was very smart. I was a good kid. I wasn't getting in trouble. I was well dressed, taken care of, in that aspect. So people couldn't really find a whole lot to, pull out about me and like make fun of me. So that was the one thing that, people used to get me on. So yeah.
Okay. Robert, what was your experience like growing up?
Um, Life was gonna be harder. All my peers, anybody that was around me, if they was dark like me, they would, especially older than me, my elders, they would let me know that, having that dark skin, life gonna potentially be hard on you. But,
Hmm.
you know, uh, growing up, a lot of people understand that most things start in the home. And so even though we're affected by it, outside of the home by society, at home really puts the pressure on us the most and makes it and actually makes us deal with it the most because it seems like the people that love you the most are the people that's telling you how bad it is to be dark skinned and
Hmm.
not necessarily putting you in a place where like with me, for instance, in my household with my kids, my daughter died just like me. My son light skinned like my wife. And so because I know it starts at home, I always put her on the pedestal, telling her that she's pretty, asking her if anybody is peeking on her, how she should deal with it, because I learned how to deal with it in a non-violent way, in a way that I can still succeed in life without having to spend so much time on this mindset because that's what it
Hmm.
is. In order for it to be real, both the person that it's affecting has to believe in it, and the person that's telling you that's what it is has to believe in it too. And as I got older, I just stopped believing in it. I don't believe that my opportunities are lessened by the color of my skin, even though it may be. I just refuse to believe in it because I feel
Hmm.
like it's a limiting belief for me to hold.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
most certainly.
So my experience
Absolutely.
with it growing up, again, it started at home, and I had to learn how to, maneuver through society because I can't change it,
Yep.
and I'm proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't want to change it, So again, I feel like it affects everybody, but with all things, it's all about how you respond to something. And I think my response comes from education. I always read, I always self-help, self-care, taking the time out to go to therapy when I can't figure it out for myself. And
Yes.
just really just really just trying to learn, educate myself on how to be the better me that I can be because I know that it's just a lack of knowledge. I had to understand that the person that was telling me these things about my color, they love me. They wasn't telling me to
Hmm.
hurt me, but that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of telling me in a survival way.
Yeah.
You gotta
That's
you
so sad.
be prepared.
That's
Hmm.
sad though.
And I
Yeah.
So
gotta,
oh, go ahead.
I got something I want to add to that because you are so right. Like even though though the most hurtful lessons I learned about my complexion came from my family, I do realize that it came from a place of wanting to protect me. Like even in the way that I was raised versus the way that my sister was raised. I was raised to work. I was raised to be able to make money, to be able to take care of myself. Um, it is not until recently until I began to embrace the idea that I am a woman and I deserve to receive things and I don't have to do all the work for myself. And I think that was steeped in colorism as well. But to speak to what you're saying about being raised in survival mode, it's something called the white gaze that I've studied in the past, and being parented under the white gaze is something I think we can attribute being, subjected to those kind of situations
Question,
as
question,
children.
question, question. What is the white
I'm
gaze?
gonna break it down for you.
Okay.
So the white gaze is the frame or the lens in which white society views you, right? So all of the stereotypes that are attached to you because of the color of your skin, the complexion of your skin, because of your gender, your socioeconomic status, all of those things that paint the way in which white society sees you is called the white gaze. And being parented under the white gaze. So essentially, it's like Big Brother is looking at you as a black person through the stereotypical image, and using that to then impose all of these, societal expectations and limitations and exclusionary practices on you, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So this is something that started, it started back in slavery, and it's something that's just been passed down from generation to generation. When we our ancestors were brought over here, once they see one black man go through the process of buck breaking in front of the whole community, and he's tarred and feathered and whipped, tied to two horses, and then torn apart, that's enough to make a black woman say, "Oh hell no, I'm not like my baby boy. I'm going to make sure that he don't grow up with that bravado, that intimidating aspect of himself that's going to make white people want to kill him, make white people want to castrate him, make white people want to abuse him, and all of these things, right?" And so the same thing happens, as with little black girls. When little black girls are parenting their daughters, they're thinking about, oh, you're dark skinned, you're light skinned, this is the way that society is going to approach you, this is how they're going to see you, and so I have to prep you for that. And it for me, it wasn't an overt direct conversation where I was being made to understood that this is that I'm being raised this way because of society. um but it was something that I had to experience on a regular. I think it would have really been helpful to have had been to have had that conversation where it's like, I'm being told, hey, even society is going to see you this way, and I'm going to do my best to prepare you for that, but I want you to always know that you are beautiful, you are loved, you deserve all of the things that society is going to tell you that you don't deserve. Those were the lessons that I had to learn the hard way growing up. But that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles when you are being reared in a community where everybody is in survival mode. Everybody is being raised in survival mode. And, we didn't have resources like social media and nonprofit organizations and all these free different, websites to teach us about these concepts and to unlearn all of this, and, be more diligent about, parenting our children to be prepared for what they're going to face, but still be able to stand in, their truth and, the beauty of who they are, naturally and spiritually as an individual.
Mhm. Question. So I know Robert stated previously you can't change your complexion. Prior to us getting on this live, me and you spoke, Dr. Shorter. Can you talk about your experience with someone encouraging you to do skin bleaching?
Yeah, as I was growing up, that was one of the other conversations that was had. It wasn't a thing of, oh, you dark skinned, so I want you to start using this bleaching cream to lighten your skin. It was a common practice. It was a product that multiple generations in my family had used, and it's called Vantex. So Vantex is a skin lightening cream, and it says on the container that it's bleaching cream. Well, I just happened to really examine, I was probably about the age of 13, 14, when I was encouraged to start, using these things, because at around that age, that's when you are groomed to begin taking care of your, feminine aspects, paying attention to your skin and the cleanliness of your body and things of that nature. And yeah, so I just happened to, after maybe like a second or a third purchase of the product, look at it and notice that it said bleaching cream on the container, and that really messed me up. It really messed me up. I was like, dang, like
Mm-hmm.
the people, like they want me to bleach my skin. They got me
Mm-hmm.
buying bleaching cream. And so I did, I've had conversations with my caregivers about that dynamic and about that situation, and I brought it to their attention, and you know, the person said, "Well, I didn't even know it was a bleaching cream. It's just something that I was, used to using."
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, so I just, took you to go use what I had always been using.
Mm. Robert, I have a question. So, do you feel it's harder on black women who are darker, or it's harder on black men who are darker? Or do you feel like it's equal? And why do you feel the way you feel?
I don't feel like it's equal because of societal gender roles and gender norms. So I don't feel like it's equal because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that darker skinned people, no matter the race, just darker skinned people are treated differently. People look at us and say, okay, you darker skinned, you tougher. You could deal
Mm-hmm.
with more. You can carry more on your shoulders. You stronger.
Mm-hmm.
People seem to think that we can tolerate more pain than other our fair skin, our fair skin friends. Or so, I think that again, it's not equal
Mm-hmm.
because of gender roles, but it's just darker on. I mean, it's just harder on dark skinned people.
So, but do you feel like dark skinned women have it hard, or do you just feel like it's just one of those things where both just have it hard on an equal playing
I feel
field?
like both just have it hard because
Mm-hmm.
again,
Mm-hmm.
the environment is different. Um, let's just say because I used to be around this a lot. Garbage man, a dark skinned garbage woman gonna ride on the back of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
The light skinned woman probably gonna drive.
Mm-hmm.
The driver don't grab no trash. They just drive the truck. I would see this all the time. Now, is that just by chance? Or is society kind of molding that in a way where even a dark skinned person say, I just ride on the back of the truck because they know that's the
Exactly.
expectation of it. And a light
Yes.
skin and it's expected for the light skinned woman to be weaker. So you just drive because it's the easier
Mm-hmm.
thing to do. Is
Mm.
Yep.
society shaping it? Did they just choose that? Because I don't think no woman choose to stand on the back of the truck and grab no trash. That's just how I think.
And that
if
is
if she
so.
had a
Oh my
choice,
God.
like it's like, okay, look, these dudes can grab the trash cans. I don't think no woman was running up like, okay, I want the opportunity to grab the trash. I think that's running up more like, let me drive the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it's like you gotta sit down with each person and see their perspective on it. But I know from my experience that it's influenced by colorism. I can see it. I'm looking right at it. Like, hell, even if I had a choice, it's like that would still put me on the back of the truck. Like, dude, you probably can work on the truck too. Get the
And
trash.
you might even be the smaller dude.
But I'm darker though. So because I'm darker, they gonna expect me to pick up, bro. Them bags right there too heavy. Can you get those? Like I'm stronger or something. Like we could be the same exact frame.
Mm-hmm.
And they looking at you like you tougher, you stronger, you can deal with more, you can handle it. I've had people tell me that. They're like, oh man, that's nothing for you. Not what? But the same thing was happening to you, and you was dying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You was dying. And
You
so the
preaching.
expectation, you kind of fall for the illusion of it yourself because society is just so wound up in it. You be like, okay, well maybe I am stronger, and then you start doing stronger things, or I don't know the
Mm-hmm.
exact right word for that, but you start doing more. You start, like it made me an overachiever. It
Mm-hmm.
made me say, well, if you already think I'm better than, then let me for
I
real
might
be
as
better
well
than.
be.
I
Mm-hmm.
I
might as well
might as
be.
well be.
And so
Oh
when
my
I look
goodness.
out at society,
You
I see
preaching.
darker people being overachievers because of, and then I guess, I don't know, some people get to a point they be like, I don't care no more, but I feel like it's an illusion. I don't care that society feels like I should do something because of the isms, because it's more than just
Mm-hmm.
colorisms that affect darker skinned people. So I just don't believe in the isms anymore. So they don't affect me. I don't feel like I gotta, if I see somebody struggling with something, I don't feel like I gotta just jump up and hop in because society expect me to because I'm stronger. When I'm struggling with stuff, society don't just jump up and hop in. They look at me and say,
Exactly.
"You got it.
Mm-hmm.
You got this." And
Yeah.
so my whole life, I have a problem with people wanting to help me. Now nobody, people think I don't need no help.
Wow.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
think
me
I don't need
too.
Because
no
of the
help. They be like,
colorism,
Yeah.
hmm.
are you the same way, Dr. Shorter?
Yeah. Why do you think I'm a doctor? I guess I got 5 degrees. I am the epitome of
What?
overachieving.
Yeah,
And
you
Mm.
got to.
because I wasn't getting help. I wasn't getting help when I can remember growing up in school and always being presented with all these opportunities that required support,
Yeah,
guides, knowing how to get to where you're gonna go,
yeah.
money to make it happen. I had to get a job. I
So you
had to
got to
figure out the
learn
best way.
fast.
I had to get up 2 and 3 hours prior to the start of whatever it is was I wanted to be a part of, and I had to take them buses across town to get to it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
Mm. So
my
yeah.
both of you
yeah,
guys, so we talk about colorism. So you do believe there is light skin privilege. Like when people are
Oh
lighter
yeah,
skinned, they get
absolutely,
oh yeah, for
preferential
sure,
treatment.
for sure. But you
absolutely.
also have to like,
You got
I
to know your worth though, because that's a big thing though. Because just because I'm dark skinned, don't mean I don't have privilege. I'm still pretty.
there you
I'm
go.
still bad.
I was
Like,
just about to
and
touch
it's
on that.
like you. But the thing is, the advantage for light skinned people is they are conditioned to believe that they are worth somebody giving to them, somebody
Yeah,
protecting them, somebody helping them, somebody aiding them, uplifting them, valuing them, putting them on a pedestal. Those kinds of ideas and concepts were not something that I was conditioned to believe. That was something that I had to build brick by brick by brick by brick, with every mistake, with every lesson. And I had to, really dig deep spiritually and really get into the alchemy of understanding my shadow, understanding my mental health, understanding my the generational pathologies in my family when it comes to color, when it comes to race, when it comes to just everything about femininity. I had to learn it and teach myself, and that's why Zaya the Lotus exists. That's who's talking to you today. My screen name says Dr. Shorty because that's how y'all know me. But Zaya the Lotus is the integration of all my parts
Mm.
and learning
Come
how
on,
to
D.
emerge and be who I am authentically. Like naturally, I am a, very creative person. And that's not something that people always get to see when I got on the suit and I'm articulating my story with the King's English, you know. But Zaya is that integration of all of my ancestral gifts, all of my
Mm.
spiritual gifts, all of the lessons that I have learned from everything that I've been through. She is the lotus. If you don't know what the like in Kemetic philosophy, the lotus is the symbol of transcendence and resilience because it grows in dirty water. It grows in dirty water. And when it blooms on top of the water very beautifully and it floats and it emits a healing oil and components that can be used for to connect with your ancestors. If you want to take that route, it can be used to heal pain. It can be used to heal all of these things. So Zaya the Lotus is that transcended, that ascended version of myself who went down deep because I ain't had no other choice. I was rock bottom. I was in a lot of darkness.
Mm.
I tried to commit suicide by the time I was 13. I had attempted suicide at least twice.
And was it because of colorism?
It was because of, yeah, colorism was a part of it, but I was also being abused. I was, exposed to adverse childhood experiences, which is known as ACEs. um, Kaiser Permanente did a study, and they created this scale. The highest number that they that you could get was a 10 at the time. And the higher your number, the shorter your life expectancy, the more behavioral disorders and risky behaviors you are expected to have. Mental disorders, like whatever, anything that has to do with your mental and physical health, um, all is going to be affected by the amount of ACEs that you experience. And so, and there's also something called toxic stress, which is the state of constantly being in a fight or flight mode. Fight or flight is only supposed to be um initiated or triggered in traumatic experience, isolated traumatic experiences. But as Black people, historically and now, on a day-to-day basis, all day long, our fight or flight system is being triggered and set off. We're constantly being disrupted. Our peace is being disrupted. Our perceptions of ourselves are being disrupted. You know, the goals and the dreams that we have for ourselves are being disrupted. The kinds of relationships that we desire to have are being disrupted because we have all of this built up trauma in our DNA that we can't figure out how the fuck to get out of. You know, because we don't believe in therapy. We think that if you just pray, you can just pray all of the problems out.
You stepping on some toes.
Well,
it's true.
It is what it is,
It's true.
because that's
It
one of the reasons why I tried to commit suicide, was because I had reached out.
Somebody told you to pray about it.
Told me to pray. When I told them the bullshit I was going through, and I was like, "This is crazy. Come get me. I don't want to be dealing with this." And they just told me to pray about it, and I did pray about it, and wasn't nothing changing.
It's kind of dismissive sometimes. Like
It's
I feel
very
like people tell
dismissive.
you that to. It's like I want to.
They don't know what to do.
So I don't
They
have
go.
to
They
deal
want to keep their hands off of it. They don't want. They don't, because they don't feel equipped, like they have the tools to be able to mediate and problem solve the situation, even though they may be the head of the family, the matriarch or the patriarch. They just don't feel equipped, and so they say, "Hands off. I'm gonna let you deal with it, and I'm gonna pray for you, and I advise you to just pray about it."
Nah, it can't work like that though. I learned early on. It
Yeah.
can't work like that, especially if you the head of the family. You know, I'm the head of my household. And one of the things that how I go about leading my household is with truth and knowledge. So if I don't know something, we're gonna learn together. I'm not gonna just push you, I'm not gonna just let you deal with that on your own. As a family, I said that I vow to be connected to you through thick and thin. So I'm gonna help you. Help me, because I need to know too. Apparently, this is a part of life that's going to affect me too, because it's affecting you and I'm attached to you. So I gotta put a little bit more extra effort into being a leader, and not just saying just pray about it. We gotta have a logical solution to how to go about solving whatever issues that we're gonna have. And I feel like a big portion of how I am as a family man is from colorism. All of the different issues that affected me and made me feel a certain way made me say, I'm gonna make this decision. I'm gonna educate myself and make this decision. I'm gonna really dig deep and understand why, like you was talking about how, our ancestors, and how a lot of the stuff that we do is gene deep. It's in our DNA. I studied that too, and I understood that a lot of the things that we do is just because that's what grandma did, or just because that's what mama did, or just but that don't make it right though. Once you actually sit down and say, and you should sit down and say, well, this is bothering me if it's bothering you. I grew up in a household that was a do as I do and not as I say. And so that's a confliction right there, because you might tell me to do something and you ain't doing it. And so, but you expecting me to follow your leadership out of love.
But I ain't got no format. I don't got no model for it. I got to figure.
No
you want me to do
explanation.
the right thing, but I got to figure out how to do it by myself, because you're not being the example.
You're not teaching. You're not holding up to your role as a leader. You want to tell people what to do. You just want to be the boss. but you got to lead people. If you
Yeah.
want to have, because I think people are so in love with control, and so they so in love with control, they're not bettering themselves to better the people that they
Yeah.
trying to control. And
Mm.
so, again, being a better leader is always learning, always being a student, and always trying to come up with a solution where when speaking on colorism to your peers or your family and how it affected you and how you solve the problem, it needs to come from a logical place, and
Yeah.
it also needs to come from a learning place. You can't
Mm-hmm.
just say do this right here, because a lot of, like, when I speak to people, when I speak to my kids, I don't talk to them telling them what I would do. I talk to them from their perspective, because first of all, they're not me. So how they would handle the situation probably has a lot less experience and a lot less knowledge than me. And so I
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of meet them where they at and then learn with them. Again, they a whole different generation. So how my perspective of it comes from my generation and my society and my peers. So I have to meet them at their level so I can see, what they peers and their, what's normal in society for their generation. And so I feel like you just have to be a constant student, so you won't
Yeah.
lead so you won't continue these same generational curses. You will break them, and you won't feel so much pressure from society to break them, because it's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of pressure because you standing out, you doing something different. I mean, hell, something as simple as me being the tallest person in the room and wearing a purple sweater make me stand out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I also was once under the pressure of being too dog though.
Mm.
So this ain't nothing. Like, I know
You used to
but
being
when I
different.
felt like I was ugly, you was staring at me. Now
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the most handsomest person in the room, you staring at me. I
Hey.
just changed the energy because I changed my mindset.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta teach that to my children so I can continue to break the curse. My children feel like they can do anything.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
They
So
just do because I've taken them with me to do everything. I
I got a
showed them.
question for y'all. So how do people change their mindsets? Because a lot of people do put people on pedestal. Oh, she red. Oh, she bad for a dark skin. Like, how do we change
Mm-hmm.
the narrative and make people just feel empowered? And also, do you feel, before you answer that question, do you feel like colorism has gotten better? Like, are we making progress outside of social media? Because people praise people for their melanin on social media, but let's keep it real. When we log out of the computer, is it really making progress, or do you feel like colorism is the same, or do you feel like it's getting worse? Like, how do you guys feel about that? And how can we as a society change the narrative and change the ideas of others in an impactful way that's not social media related? Because everybody praise everybody on social media.
I feel like, for one, having these. Okay, so how do we change the narrative? How do we break the generational curses?
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to what I was saying about the alchemy of it all.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand the thoughts, the behaviors, the emotions that's attached to those patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be able to have those conversations. Like, these are courageous conversations that have to be had. You have to have the courage to not only have this conversation, but to show up authentically in your flaws, and be able to admit, well, damn, I do gravitate towards light skin images, and post that as the standard of beauty, or the standard of what I want to have in a relationship. Because I can't tell you how many times I see Black men talk about, they want women to be natural, they want women to do all these
Bro,
things,
why you laughing?
Cause she telling the truth.
when
She
they
telling the truth.
but they post on or they love dark skinned women and all of this, but then when I look on your page and I scroll down your page, you ain't got nothing but thick light skinned women all down
You
your page. I
stepping
know
on
some
some
that's
toes, girl. You
that's the
stepping on some
vibe you
toes. The
want.
thick, light skinned girls on y'all page.
Or if you post the image of a natural Black woman,
I'm
she
just
got a snatch waist, she got some big thighs and a big booty,
It
and
ain't
she
natural
have
to
them
Black
loose
women
curls
what
in
they
her head.
post.
She ain't got that false C sitting
she
up
talking to
there.
somebody on my timeline.
She got
Plenty.
them loose curls in her head.
Yeah,
She
that's
fits
true.
some type of commercial image.
Stepping
Yeah,
on
So you
toes.
still condition. Like
yeah,
we all
yeah.
have to. So that's what I mean by like courageous conversations.
Or
We all have,
commercial.
huh?
You
Or
said what?
commercial. It's like you said we are conditioned, but it's conditioned for the commercial. It's like
Yeah.
it's the illusion again that they putting on. It's the and I call it
Mm-hmm.
the illusion because of how they say what it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
like when you thinking natural, I'm thinking I'm thinking how you're speaking. But when they put it on the gram, they putting on the commercial. They
Mm.
people
The
not in love
commercialized
with
Putting on
image
a
of.
show.
themselves to be in love with the image of being natural.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a big portion of it too. Even though we're talking about colorism, a light skinned person can't feel that good about themselves if they put a dark skinned person down, and vice
Okay.
versa. So you have to be in love with the image of yourself.
And
You
they
got to
got trauma
understand a
too.
man that posts an
Yeah.
image like that ain't in love with the image of himself. That's why he can't. What he posts is not representative of what's real.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't in love with
Mm-hmm.
himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't say I love natural this and natural. I'm gonna be honest with you. If Tanya had long hair, she ain't cook, I wouldn't have married her. Because that was the image that I grew up with that I thought was beautiful. I
Since
used to see my
middle
grandmamas and
school.
aunties in there with the hot
Baby.
comb on the stove. Like,
Hmm.
you know, that
Mm-hmm.
was that was the closest thing they used to a perm. They didn't put no perm in their hair.
Mm-hmm.
So in 3-4 days, it was back looking like mine.
Yeah.
So that's what I grew up thinking was beautiful to me.
Yeah,
So
she got that
so
natural, beautiful hair. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so but
Mm-hmm.
but that's just my preference though. If you choose to, I'm not looking down on you if you want to wear weave, if you want to wear makeup, if you want to wear, that's your preference. But if you
Mm-hmm.
gonna say if you gonna say natural, natural mean none of this, just you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You just showed up. Like if
Yep.
I take my glasses off, I'm natural right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got nothing else on. But you
But
got
the
to
fact
take
of the
off.
matter
But the way,
is,
but
if
way
I
these
take this
dudes,
wig off and I take this makeup
yeah,
off
it's like you just got to
and I
keep
show up
taking
on this
stuff
live
off,
like
and
this,
what they
I guarantee
posting
you
ain't natural.
the amount of views that this live is gonna get is
But
not gonna be
that's
the same.
heartbreaking. And it's when somebody said programming, I think it was Robert. I think it made me look at colorism differently because it's not just us programming each other, it's being pushed.
Yeah,
Yes.
This is an
yeah,
and that's just me
we
being honest. I hope
self-inflicting
the
it.
government don't come for me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an agenda being pushed to provide separation amongst us. The
Yes.
separation is so deep. It's black against white. Then it's they make
But
it black
Light
that's
against
a
skin,
white.
dark
it's
skin,
so
curly
deep
Then
hair,
they
because
straight
make it
hair,
poor
short,
against
tall,
rich.
all of that.
They make it light skinned against dark skin, and nobody's knowing like it's them versus us. So it's
Mm-hmm.
always them
but it's
versus us. But
always gonna be like that though because there's nature. Like,
it's we're programmed to think
but
though.
it's nature too though. It's nature too. I think.
Explain it.
Well, my granddad used to have like he used to have cows, chickens, pigs, like a whole for real farm. And so I noticed that even in the animals, they would if
Speaking
this
what
if
was
this
familiar.
animal came out looking different, say my granddaddy had orange heifers and he had an albino heifer come out, they gonna separate naturally.
Mm.
They just naturally gonna separate. You can look at a litter of dogs. You can look at he had different types of animals, and I'm seeing this. If
Mm-hmm.
all these red chickens over here, they all red, and this one come out all black,
Mm-hmm.
they ain't gonna
And
bother
it's
them. They ain't
and you
gonna
can
beat
see the
them up.
same thing when you walk into a school building. I noticed it as an educator in the classroom, being in working in one of the largest schools in the district, having a large percentage of diversity, like people coming from all countries, all complexions,
They
all different
gravitate
kinds of
towards people that
languages.
look like them.
They stuck with who they were familiar with.
Because it's a
And
survival mode tactic.
mhm,
It's like, well, the safest place for me to be is where
is with
someone
somebody
looks
that look
like
like
me.
me.
Mm.
So it's a survival tactic. It's like even though all of us, a lot of times, once we leave I always like to tell people I leave my love at home because once I step outside of my home, I'm in this mode where I'm out of control. I
Mm.
only control my response to what happens to me. I don't control what happened to me out here in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And so we at some type of survival mode, whether we laugh it off or we fight it off. Like you can watch some of those YouTube pranks, and some people jump up and punch, and some people jump up and scream.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's them in survival mode. That's like fight or flight kicking in. I'm a puncher. So when I go outside in the world and things happen to me, I can't be punching on everybody. Look at me. Now colorism kicks in. I
Mm-hmm.
can't be doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
a big, tall
Oh,
black man now. They
mm.
already scared of me now. They already like, hold on, what is he? What is where he reaching for? What he?
And that's even within our community.
Of course, of course. I'm
Yeah.
the if I when I was growing up, I was the tallest, blackest dude in elementary school. I stood
What
out.
elementary school you went to?
I went to Ford Road.
Down the street. I thought you was gonna say why I have an elementary. Shout out.
Nah. See, my folks from the bottom for real, for real. So, my grandma stayed on Gillis, and my granddad pretty much stayed on Boxtown and Fields Road. So,
Mm-hmm.
I could have went to Whitechapel, but it was kind of like falling apart, deteriorating. So, I went
Mm-hmm.
to Ford Road and used my grandma address. And Gillis
Mm-hmm.
is off Ford Road, so it was mostly black, all black. I want to say when I graduated, it was like maybe three Mexican children. I want to say maybe, but for the most part, we was all
And
black, and I was the
those were the
tallest in the
ones
darkest, so I
making it
stood
Mm-hmm.
out.
hard. The black kids making it hard for other black kids. And it's learned behavior. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
through
learn it's
kids is
learned
definitely a
behavior, but
learned behavior because
I
kids
think you
don't just do
solve it
it.
by just in your household. It's like, we can try to like one of the reasons why I post the things that I post, especially with my son and my kids and just being a family man, is because of how we're represented, the what the culture believes about us. And I'm the example of something totally different from a lot of the stereotypes. A lot of the times when me and my family go out, a lot of people actually smile at us and give us perks and are happy for us, and because you don't see a lot of black families first, and second, you don't see a lot of young black families. And
Mm-mm.
so, that's always pushing me to want to stay a family man,
Breaking
want to,
generational curses.
yeah, break
Mm-hmm.
that generational curse. Because I grew up in a broken household, but it was a little bit different because my dad was a single parent. Most of my peers, it was their mothers, and so that fuels me and pushes me to continue to try to break these curses within my household, because a lot of the times the lesson is learned when you at the time it's happening, at the time the situation is happening. And so it's kind of hard to do that with people that you don't live with per se,
Mm-hmm.
with the kids and my wife. And even if it's just me and her, a lot of times we can stop after learning how to communicate, after getting out of survival mode, after
Yeah.
breaking down all these other walls first. Now we can communicate on a level where nobody's hollering at anybody. If it's
Yeah.
misunderstood, it's an explanation need to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Not chastising the kids when they do something wrong because I didn't explain it to them first. I'm just thinking they should know it because I know it.
Yes, man, you preach.
Just really breaking down, understanding myself so I could be better for them. When I was 26, I'm 35 now. When I was 26 years old, I had this epiphany, and I don't want to say I gave up on my life, but I made my life all about my children. I understood that my children are my future, and I was proposed with this question: Who gonna show up at your funeral? Well,
Mm-hmm.
we don't get to decide, but we do get to decide how we treat the people that we're in contact with often on a
Mm-hmm.
regular basis.
Yeah.
And so when my granddad was on his last leg or his dying on his deathbed, I took his bath. I took care of him. I wiped his behind. I did all of those things. And by me doing that, I was taking heed to the things that he was saying. Even though sometimes he wasn't in his right mind, a lot of the times that he was. And one of the things that he said that stuck with me was, it don't feel good when you can't take care of yourself.
Mm.
And so what I got from that is I paired it with some more understanding that I had. Once a man, twice a baby. So if somebody got to take care of me again, just like I'm taking care of my granddad, then I really need to be, on the mission when it comes to treating the people that I love better, the people that I'm in constant contact with,
Mm-hmm.
treating them better. And really the only way for me to get to a better me was to eliminate all of the colorism and everything that was attached to it. Because you can start it with colorism, you can start it with, a lot of different things, but it's all kind of on the same tree. And so when you deal with one issue, you kind of start dealing with another one and another one and another
Mm-hmm.
one. And before you know it, you a whole different person
Yeah.
than than the child that you was. When I was
Mm-hmm.
26, I stopped being a boy. I
Mm.
don't do no. If my wife say, look, if my children say, look, if I I have to make sure I show my son it's a clear separation between the boy and the man. The
Mm.
separation is understanding and knowledge, and so I have to show him that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just say, boy, do this, boy, do it. I can't put no
Mm.
expectation on him. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
meet him where he at. And so I have to just, again, I gotta take, even when I'm talking to him, my son light skinned, but he's still a tall black man. Even though
Mm-hmm.
he's light skinned, I gotta say, boy, you can't be doing all that. But I try to get him to think before you react to anything, think about what's going on.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Just think.
Yep.
I don't care if somebody forcing you, pushing you. Shut your mouth and put your hand to your side and use your head.
Come
Because
on.
that's what's gonna get you to the next level. If we
Yeah.
keep staying in survival mode, and if we keep letting all these isms affect us, it's gonna stunt our growth.
Mm.
But
Period.
I got a question for you when it comes to those isms. So you are the man of your household. You're the leader. You set the tone.
Right, exactly.
So when in that position, you have like a substantial amount of leverage. Everybody in there respects you, right? So what have I want to know, have you ever had an experience where as the leader you had people in your charge who benefit from that privilege, and when you challenge them and their beliefs, they resist the transformation that you're trying to take?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
But
do
look,
you
That's a
deal
good
with
question.
how do you deal with that, and what
oh
advice
man, it took me
would you
years to learn
give
how to deal with
a
it. It's
woman like me who feels like I feel like I don't got the same kind of leverage you got as a woman?
but again, that's society again. um One of the things that you, even if you don't believe in the isms still exist.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm,
so you have to understand yourself. I spend a lot of time meditating, so you have to understand yourself first so you can control your response too. So
Mm-hmm.
I read a lot.
yeah.
One of the books that I read was a Grant Cardone book, and it was called, I think I want to say it was called uh uh buy or be sold, or be sold or buy, something like that. It was red
Hmm.
cover with big white words on it. And one of the things that he put in that book, it teaches you how to be a better salesperson. I like marketing and stuff like that. But one of the things that he said in that book is that the hardest person for you to sell your ideas to is your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took that. I said, well, if I know, if I already know that this gonna be a battle, this ain't gonna be easy. I'm gonna have to push up the hill. I might have to use a little muscle for this. Then I have to figure out which muscle should I use, and then I have to employ patience. That is a virtue. So you got to get some of that. You got to always be working on getting some of that. So when it comes down to, let's just say my son bucking up and challenging me, because don't think he hadn't. I
Yeah.
raised him to. I raised them, don't believe nobody. Know yourself
Mhm.
and know what you know. So I
Mm-hmm.
raised them to. So I raised him to do everything that I would do, and some of the things that I wouldn't do. So
Mhm.
I raised him. Okay, so he buck up. I touch him. I let him know that
Okay, I
my
told you
energy ain't
that,
meant
so
to
I'm gonna
hurt
give
you.
you
My
that.
energy meant to heal you and help you.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to hurt you, son. And
Mm-hmm.
so when he get through being mad, I say, look, I'm still strong on what I'm saying. I'm just saying it wrong because you ain't receiving it. So you go take a break. I'm gonna go take a break, but we're gonna come back to this because I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't letting it go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Either you right or I'm
Mhm.
right. Or we got to come back to it and talk about it. But there is a right and a wrong way depending on the isms, society, how you respond to things. If
Yeah.
you jumping up at me, then my first thought is you think I want to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I ain't trying to hurt you. My not now, if I was in survival mode, my response would be different.
Mm-hmm.
If you jump up, I'm jumping up too.
Yeah.
But I ain't in survival mode though. So what I'm jumping up for?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get you. You gotta understand a scared mind don't learn nothing. So I don't want you to be
Wow.
afraid or in fear of me or what I'm saying. I'm trying to teach you something.
Yeah.
And the only way for me to do that is if we both at a certain consciousness.
You said something. We're about to wrap things up. But what I like about what you said is you refrain from emotional responding. So as opposed to you reacting because, oh, you think because I'm this or because you think I'm that, that's why you acting like this. You think before you react. So emotional responding is one of the ways that we can, I guess, break barriers
Yeah.
within
Yeah,
all
big time.
aspects.
Emotional intelligence is a big
Yes.
topic that's not discussed in the Black community. Well, in a poor community, I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'll say in a poor community. I try not to race bait so much because I've been around a lot and I've elevated a lot. I've been invited into a lot of living rooms with this mindset because they know I ain't come to hurt them. So they say, "Come on, Rob, you cool." But we have to educate ourselves intelligently. We don't know how to respond to our emotions. We don't understand our emotions. And one of the things that helped me with that was therapy. Again, I grew up with the same trauma as most poor Black men in the hood, trying to figure it out, getting bullied, getting talked about, not having the freshest shoes, not having the right look, not having whatever it is that society says that I need to have. I ain't have it. So I had to get it. And one of the things that I chose that was in society to get was knowledge.
Yeah.
Before we had, smartphones and before information was so easily accessible, which I think is still the same, they had bookstores. You can always go to a
Yeah.
bookstore. You can always educate yourself. So when people say, try to make it seem like the education wasn't there or it's easier now, if you want it, you want it.
That's so
If you
true. And
want
what you
better for
said about
yourself, you gonna go find better.
yeah, that's so true. And it's the piece about emotional intelligence is so important. I learned about emotional intelligence on my job. And once I learned about it, I began to practice it to increase my emotional intelligence so that I can be able to speak my truth, so that I can be able to occupy white spaces in my authentic self, so that I
Yeah,
can learn how
all
to
your
set
blackness.
boundaries in my personal relationships so that I'm not being, overextending myself and I'm receiving as much as I'm giving. And so that's a lot of what I teach through my life coaching, through Kinetic Lotus Healing. And I also have a nonprofit called the Carrie Mae Williams Center, where I'm teaching youth and adults how to increase their emotional intelligence and foster resilience. We have a youth summit coming up where we teach them teach the kids entrepreneurship and give them a platform to be able to promote their businesses. We're adding an entertainment piece to that this year. But in the process of teaching them all of those things, we're going to also be teaching them emotional intelligence because they have to work together. They're going to have
Yes.
mentors coming in and speaking to them. And then later on this year, we're going to, kick it up a notch, and we're going to address the whole family with the Black Family University, where we are teaching emotional intelligence in in therapeutic workshop format with the whole family. So there will be curriculum for the children, girls and boys. There will be curriculum for the adults. There will be therapy. We're going to have social workers. Like, we're going to take a wraparound approach to healing families who want to be healed, who want to build legacy, and who want to break generational curses. And that's something that we'll be launching in October. But you can find all the information if you go to my personal profile. I have all the links and like my details and things of that nature. But yeah,
And
that work is so important.
that was gonna be my last thing because we're gonna wrap it up. We're coming up on an hour. I was gonna give you guys a chance, but you beat me to the punch. So Robert, I'll give you another chance, Shantasia, because I want you to provide your link so people can go to it.
Okay.
Robert, could you provide information about your business and how people can find you as well?
All right. So the business I'm promoting that I'm putting a lot of energy behind is hair care. Hair care beard products. A lot of people know me as an entrepreneur. I have several businesses, but this is the one that I like to get creative with. This is the one I like to express myself with. And this is the one that I like to use as a tool to get my Black man with beards in the mirror being aware of themselves. The whole structure of the business, I wanted to grow a better beard. My beard was patchy, it wasn't growing in full. And through the processes of me growing in a better beard, I kind of found myself. I
I'm sorry
became
for
more
laughing. I'm
aware
laughing at
of,
the
you know,
patchy.
yeah, it was super patchy. It wouldn't grow in,
You know
and
the men that
it
can't
would
grow in.
connect. And so a lot of my young brothers suffer from that, but I also want to, infuse a greater cause,
I'm sorry.
a greater good into the business. And so with my social media, I like to use it to, talk about wealth and family and all of those things. Because if you become more aware of yourself, spending the time looking in that mirror, I think that you will make positive changes, better eating habits, better, just taking
Mm-hmm.
more time for self-care to be that better person that you need to be for whoever it is in your life, whether it be for your wife, your kids, or your grandmama and your granddaddy. Just take some time to take care of yourself, better yourself,
Get
and
them
get a nice
patches out
beard in
that
the
beard,
process.
fellas.
So
Yes.
haircarecompany.com, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, haircare.
I like that.
Haircarecompany.com. You can go on there and take the quiz if you don't know what products you need. I got a quiz on there for you. I got YouTube, hair care, TikTok. I'll be having fun on there. And I'm always updating the stories. Uh Again, hair care.
And also, Tasia, because Tasia has she is it called a podcast? Like I know she speaks and it's phenomenal. They need to know about that as well.
Oh,
The
I
Lotus
have
Room
the Lotus Room. So the Lotus Room, right? It hasn't morphed into a podcast yet.
is amazing.
It's a group
Okay,
on Facebook, specifically for Black women. It is a support group for Black women.
okay,
And so yeah,
it's amazing.
so this Blue Lotus, just look for this Blue Lotus, y'all. But it's a group for Black women. Now I have my co-ed group, which is Kinetic Lotus Healing,
Hmm.
where people of all walks of life can come. They can join the page and stay updated on my content that's being released. When my blog drops, I have a blog. I've been doing something called Unspoken Truths for a year now, and I'm just going to take all of those entries and put it into a blog on ZayaTheLotus.com. So my social media tags are Zaya the Lotus, ZIYA the Lotus. That's on Instagram, that's on TikTok, just those two right now. But Kemetic Lotus Healing and the Lotus Room are my platforms on Facebook where you can engage with me. And I have a plethora of content that's coming this year. Zaya she gonna be in full bloom this year. I'm
I love it.
letting her come out and embrace the world. I've been hiding her for a long time, but
I
she's coming
love
out
it.
this year. So the life coaching, healing circles, those will be all of the things that I'll be offering, and those links are available on my main profile, which is Tasia Shorter. You just click and it take you where you need to go.
And I'll get y'all links, but like once we end, I'll get y'all links from you so I can tag them on the video.
Okay.
But the Black excellence, man, it's the Black excellence for me because
Yes,
my
Robert. I didn't know you was gonna come with the heat like that. I was like, come
I
on,
know.
Black man.
both of
I already
y'all,
know.
I mean,
I be being
educated,
quiet a little bit
reading books.
sometimes. And then I just pop out like people that don't know me, they be like, man, like I'm naturally a very serious person,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm a student.
Mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
And being a
I can
student
attest
allowed
to
me to articulate, I can speak better.
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so, and I'm very in tune myself. Like I
Mm.
like a whole lot of doctor. You was really talking some good stuff. I like it. I love it. I'm all about the energy and the lotus
Yeah.
flowers. And I got like all kind of stuff
Y'all
tattooed on
amazing.
my face. I'm a gardener. I got flowers tattooed on my chest and everything.
That's
And
what's
so you was
up.
really speaking to me when you were talking about the flowers and the
Me too.
healing.
I didn't know all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like y'all be
I got a green thumb. Like
Me
most people in my
too.
neighborhood know me as the flower guy. So
Hmm.
yeah, I got growing hands. So
come
That's
on,
what's up.
y'all.
yeah, I
It's
do a
in our
lot of stuff.
blood. It's in our blood.
It's the representation for me because somebody's watching this like, man, if they can do it, I can do it. So
For
Absolutely.
sure.
y'all be empowered and don't allow people to down you because of your complexion. You're beautiful.
Hmm.
You were designed that way for a reason. Be empowered and empower others. Did y'all have anything left to say before we end this live?
I enjoyed it.
No, that's it. All I got to say is I love y'all to life, and I look forward to taking this journey with
Yes, yes.
you.
Salute.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. All right.